Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. This is Damon K. Jones here, and thank you for coming on at the Monday Mindset, the Health Mindset, the Monday Mindset, where we're here every Monday to discuss health, wellness, mental clarity, spirituality, and how do we become successful in our lives through the different pillars of wellness. And one thing that is very important to our health and wellness is relationships. We do not look at relationships being a part of health and wellness, but it actually is. Like the healthier we are, the better our relationships are with people, the better our romantic relationships are, and we have to working on ourselves. You can't love other people if you do not love yourself. You're going to have a hard time doing it um, if you're trying to get through that. If you don't love yourself, you're definitely going to have a hard time loving other people. So relationship starts the relationship starts with you. But in the process of being in the Black community, we we are having a hard time uh, dealing with relationships. Black marriages is at the lowest of any other ethnic group, and we make a lot of excuses with this modern era that we have today. We say, well, some say, well, it's the females say, well, there's no good men out there, or they have a lot of education. It's hard, we're the highest educational group, in and we can't find people. It's a lot of excuses, but part of it is that we have not understanding the science of relationships, and what the science and of wedding vows, and we're going to talk about to that. I have a book coming out next month called The Book of Black Love, and I I address a lot of these issues, and I go against the modern notion of how relationships are, because I really believe that we have been tricked and bamboozled. Um, Before 1960, Black marriage was at 80%. 80%. Black marriage was at 80%. Now, single parents, children born out of wedlock, is at 78%, and marriage is only at 30%. So we made a complete reversal on the family structure in the Black community. And part of it is the relationship between the Black men and women. And part of it is also understanding the importance of our wedding vow. We have reduced the wedding to a public performance for the benefit of family and friends, and diminishing both the ceremony, spiritual value, and the significance of the marriage vow. The marriage vow elevates Black love to a greater level than ourselves. You are not less because of that. It does not mean you are not wonderful, you're not a wonderful person before you were married. It does not imply that you should never contemplate your needs and desires, but it does mean your happiness, satisfaction, and desires do not reign supreme over your marriage. Your vow is a public statement of intention. The traditional wedding vows have endured throughout history and an essential proclamation of one's devotion to the person they have chosen to spend their life with. It was sometimes in the 16th century when the vows began to be compiled and standardized more formally. The words may mean different things depending on the culture and religion. Still, in most cases, they represent an oath to one's partner's commitment to the other for their entire life. The traditional wedding vow in Jewish and Christian religions are comparable, and they do the excuse me. The wedding ceremony comes after a statement of intent to wed. Before a man and a woman make a promise to one another, such as I promise to love you, listen to you, learn from you, they first announce their intention to God. The phrase I do, this is where we get it twisted, right? We actually think we're saying I do to one another. We actually feel that we're saying I do to one another. But the reality in a wedding vow, we're saying I do to God, right? This intent is to God. It's not to one another. This is where we get it twisted from. The phrase I do is technically known as the declaration of intent. This offering is made to not one another, but is made to God. You know, after sharing the decision with God, a couple will verbalize the commitment. And then it'd be like, I promise to love you, listen to you, learn from you, etc. We have turned those intentions into BS. We have turned those intentions to BS. And why? Because we only got 30% of marriage. The divorces, 80% are filed by women in divorces. And cheating is not the number one. It's just the fact that they feel that their lives went other directions. It's not even someone cheating outside their marriage. So we have to understand that vows are more than just us. It's a tool that God employs to mold culture and foster the growth of communities and affect personal transformation in people's hearts. As I said, the low rate in the Black communities with marriage reflects the poor conditions of our communities and the lack of spiritual wellness and energy in the community because the absence of the greatest example of Black love, which is the vows between a man and a woman. When a Black man and woman decide to get married and embrace a broader picture of what means to be married, they look at every facet of their relationship through different lenses. Even the condition of the community. Everything is viewed about the person, the couple, the family, the community, and God. The vow in marriage shifts the focus away from considering how circumstances affects only the individual and how circumstances should affect the whole. It makes the stakes higher. Knowing that the partnership is about more than you, you should instill a sense of urgency regarding some subjects, giving the significance of the marriage. If your wedding were only about you, you might avoid facing difficulties by denying they exist or ignoring any arising problems. Your vow reminds you that you must communicate issues. Your vow is your commitment to confront problems and work to improve abilities of your marriage as a partnership. Because of the welfare of others depend on your ability to love one another well, we need to acquire skills necessary to do so. You will see it will result in fewer problems. Others' concerns lose some of their weight compared to the marriage significance. The perception of relatively annoyances or frustrations shift as a result. They are regarded as a single issue amidst several others in more significant settings. The goal of marriage is to make each partner happy. Then there is no problem that is too trivial that cannot destroy the partnership. However, if marriage is about two people being married as well as the whole community, there are a few topics that might be worth discussing. However, it's not worth putting the health and safety of other people in jeopardy because of one's preferences. Many of us, even those who are married, do not have a correct viewpoint of marriage. In that case, we do not have the appropriate backdrop to comprehend unique situations. We give less weight to more significant issues while giving more weight to less critical grievances. We do not insist of a state of equilibrium or the Black masculine and feminine duality. So marriages fail. On the other hand, if we comprehend marriage's spiritual function in our lives, we can better put every occurrence into appropriate setting and evaluate it accordingly. We can examine each circumstances with the proper knowledge to determine if it can be disregarded, laughed off, viewed as a minor annoyance, or something we must take very seriously and address. When we lose sight of our vow, those who put themselves in a position of superiority over the spouse do not do so at the expense of both the relationship and themselves. The connection will deteriorate into conflict and resentment. If one partner believes they are the most critical aspect of the marriage, the partner dynamic will be unbalanced. Nevertheless, what is sometimes overlooked in this paradigm is the harm that comes to this conclusion to the individual. When we delude ourselves into thinking we are better than what we are and better than our commitment, we can imagine that this will result in more fun, enjoyment, and excitement. It may only be equitable for some, but we'll get what we want. But on the other hand, self-centeredness never lives up to its expectations it creates. Unfortunately, many learn the hard way. When man and woman place the marriage in its appropriate setting, they will likely experience greater happiness, contentment, joy, than focusing on primary themselves. When we put ourselves on a pedestal and place it above our marriage, we end up putting ourselves and the marriage on a lower level. Marriage is a quest of greatness. Your vows make you great together. When the man and woman actually perceives themselves within the spiritual aspect of the vow of marriage, we are more likely to enjoy a happy marriage. If we make marriage about ourselves, we won't get anything positive out of it. A marriage can't be successful when it's undertaken outside the context in which it was meant to function. Just as a gasoline powered machine can't operate on soda. Although one contentment, desires, and concerns are worthy of attention within the marriage context, the union's growth is the primary focus, should always be the primary focus. It's the team. It comes first. More than anything else, the marriage vow and the marriage is meant to be a channel through which the man and the woman can learn their spirituality. Individual needs and wants should take second place to accomplish that goal. And I'm talking of togetherness, not one above the other, on equal ground. The marriage vows and marriage is meant to encompass more than just the two. We can experience marriage's full potential when we chase after the Most High via the contents of the marriage. When we make ourselves the primary focus in the relationship, we will never get to know either God or the other person in the marriage. So we should take time and build a relationship with your partner and work at it. The wedding, that's a ceremony. That's great. But the marriage is the work, the give and take, the partnership. Some people say 50-50. I say 100-100. Because there are some days that the man's going to be 75% and the woman's going to be 100%. And there's some days the woman's going to be 40% and the man's going to be 60%. But as long as they're coming to each other and working with each other, we could make marriages last. We have to be serious about this. A lot of people don't think that that we are in a crisis at this point with the lack of Black marriages that's going on. We have to really start teaching our sons to be husbands and our daughters to be wives. We got to stop telling our sons to be players and stop telling our daughters to be so independent. You could have independence, but you shouldn't be so independent that you can't be with a man. And as I said in the other videos, you got all these social media people and you got a lot of these women out here giving advice to women, and they got women. They don't even want a man. They got women. See, and we need to start calling them out because their agenda is not love between man and women. Their agenda is to keep the marriage institution of marriage in the Black community as low as it is. It's 30%. As I said earlier, in 1960, the marriage was 80%. Now we reversed it in a couple of decades. And if we don't think our community is a reflection of that, then we're fooling ourselves. But check out my book. My book is The Book of Black Love. It's on Amazon right now. The Book of Black Love. I'm going to be going over different chapters every week. Every week. It just went up on Amazon. So check it out. And on Wednesday, we're going to talk about Black male masculinity for the men, because I also think another problem is men don't have safe places to really discuss their masculinity and the proper and I'm going to teach at a school Wednesday and Thursday to young men, and we're going to be teaching out of this book here, The Strategies of Self, because we got to start teaching our young men self-awareness, self-respect, self-love, and self-defense, and not the physical self-defense, but the mental self-defense. We got to start teaching our young men these things. And then we get into the 50, my other book, the 53 Building Blocks to be a Divine Black Masculine, where we become men. And we understand our responsibility to ourselves, and we understand responsibility to taking on a serious relationship with a woman. We've lost these, we have completely lost these type of discussions in the Black community. I worked 33 years at the Westchester County Department of Corrections. I watched too many young Black men come in, and then I started seeing more young girls come in. And I shouldn't be a father figure as a correction officer to these young men. They should have father figures out in the street. And this is one of my goals, to do these things, to keep young men on the right path so they won't have to go up there, man. They don't have to, take penitentiary chances for anybody. You know, we have to change the mindset of our young people to go out there and create businesses and create generational wealth. And getting a good woman that matches, once they know their purpose, to get a good woman to match their purpose and have a family and be productive in the community. These are the things we have to start talking about. These are the things pastors need to start talking about from the pulpit. And we get our politicians to actually put real money in programs that's going to help young black men and women to be productive citizens and ultimately have a family. You know, we need to get our young people in church more on Sundays instead of being at Sunday brunch. It is what it is. So I want to thank everybody. Please, 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 please follow me on Facebook. If you share the video if you want to, but on Wednesday, 8 p.m., we're going to be talking about regaining our masculinity, our black masculinity, and we're gonna have another show next week, and we're gonna be talking about different chapters out of all my books. And I want to thank people for thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. I will see y'all guys next week. You could go on Amazon. All my books are on Amazon. And have a Blacktastic Monday. Remember, today was Meatless Monday. And I hope y'all got your vegetables. God is in your vegetables. And have a great day. Peace out.